You're on.
I'm on. Hi there, this is Rob with Rock Solid Home Inspections, and we're here in Holiday, and we're going to do a little video for you guys. We're going to answer some questions about 4-point wind mitigation, what you need, what you don't need, and when you're walking through a home, some of the things that you can identify right off the bat that could be potential red flags for insurance and stuff like that. Just some real quick things. I want to introduce this guy to my right. This is James with Regional Termite. James is one of our awesome affiliates. He is a WDO and termite guy and can do all the treatment stuff. I'll let him speak more about that. But you make a phone call to our office and you say that you need a WDO, and we will schedule it for you so you don't have to look around. And James or one of his employees will be at the inspection with us. There you go, James.
I'm James with Regional Termite and Pest Control, and we've been in business for over 20 years in the state of Florida, and we are down here in Tampa-St. Pete area. We're doing WDO inspections, whether it's a conventional loan or a VA inspection, and yes, we try to be there at the same time as the home inspectors to make it easier for you as a realtor or as a buyer of the home or as a seller to get it all done at one time. And we work hand in hand with the home inspectors, and we confer with each other on inspection to say, what's going on, what are you seeing, what's the condition of the home. We want to work together to make sure that you have all the vital information you need, and your clients need, to be able to go forward and purchase their new property with confidence.
Awesome. All right, so we're gonna have Rob go over some of the things to look for when you're walking through with a buyer in regards to a home inspection, and when a 4-point and wind mitigation is necessary.
All right, well, first of all, when you guys do your preliminary work, if you're showing a house, you're gonna pull it up on the MLS, you're gonna know the age of the house, and just knowing the age is gonna throw a bunch of things at you that you possibly look for. The biggest thing is houses like this house, I believe it's from the late 60s, early 70s. As an inspector, there's a pretty good chance, especially in this part of Florida, that there's gonna be aluminum wiring in the house. It may or may not be remedied, just little things like that. But a lot of things you can do. For insurance, if you're just for process of elimination on a house, if you're walking through with your client and stuff like that, you can walk over to the sink, go over, look underneath there, and you can actually see what kind of piping there is, whether it be copper, galvanized, PVC, or anything like that. And then also look behind the toilets. You know, galvanized is not that big of a huge problem, but it can be for some insurance. And just throw it out there. Insurance in Florida is getting ridiculous. When I first started doing home inspections years ago, it was literally 4 photographs and a couple little statements. Now it's pretty in depth because they want to know a lot of information. So what they're looking for on a home inspection, for a 4-point, is they call it 4-point because there's 4 major things that they're looking at. They're looking at the roof. They want to see a roof permit from after 2002. That's when all the codes changed, where the strapping and all that stuff changed. They're looking for the shape of the roof. They want to know the condition of the plumbing system, the age of the water heater, the electrical panel, if there's any issues. Double taps is probably the biggest thing. Now, you guys are not going to have access to see if it's double taps because you're not going to be pulling the panel off like I would. But those are things that are red flags that insurance will deny in underwriting, so it has to be fixed before people can get insurance on the home. The electrical and the HVAC, they want to make sure that the HVAC system is in check. Now, the best number I can tell you is 12 to 15. 12 to 15 on any component, whether it be a dishwasher or a washer and dryer or your water heater or your air conditioning system. 12 to 15 years is what manufacturers give them as their average lifespan. And that's right about the time that insurance has started getting a little pushback on them. Like water heaters, if they're over 15 years old, some insurances are saying, no, we can't have that. Okay, so just be prepared for that. There are labels on most everything, unless you have a little cheat code. Some of them are marked, and you won't know unless you can pull up the actual, labeling and see what it is. But those are things that you need to look for. As far as roofs go, the magic number in Florida is 20, okay? So if you look across the street over here, I don't know if you can see it or not, you can see all those shingles on the roof right there, they're all in line, and they're all concentric. That is a 3-tab, okay? You see that? Mm-hmm. And this house here is a 3-tab. Oop. And we walk outside later, but I'll show you the difference between the other ones. There's architectural one or dimensional. Now the dimensionals have a 30-year lifespan on them, but the manufacturers say Florida doesn't care, it's 20. As soon as they get around 18, 19, 20 years old, they start pushing back on them. A 3-tab is the same, but they start pushing back about 15 years on them, and there's actually some insurance companies that the roof is over 12 years old, you're not gonna get insurance on it, you're gonna need to replace it, just because of all the claims and stuff that's going on. So that's the big thing as far as the 4-point is, again, that's the roof, the HVAC, the plumbing, and the electrical, so those things we look for. The wind mitigation, that is the one where you get a lot of your credits back for your insurance. That's one that people want. That's where they start giving you a sliding scale, if you will. So if you have a roof permit after 2002, March 1st of 2002, you're gonna get credit for that. Then we're gonna crawl up in the attic and we're gonna see what kind of strapping that holds the actual physical roof down to the walls of the house. And there's basically 4 types. There's toenails, which is just the roof joist, the roof floor joists that come across the wall. They just take nails and they just toenail them in. That's toenail. There's 0 credit for that. The other kind of toenails is a metal strap that comes up. So on the block wall, they'll attach a metal strap, and they turn it, and then they'll put 2 nails in it. Now, what the difference between that being what's considered toenails or a hurricane clip, which is the next step up, is the 3rd nail. If it has 3 nails on one side, you get the credit for it from the insurance. And there's actually companies that come out that specialize in coming out and putting that 3rd nail in for these systems that only have the 2 nails, and you get the extra credits on it. Then you have single wraps, which is a strap that goes up and it actually goes over the top of the 2x4, the 2x6, and it has a minimum of 2 nails on one side and 1 on the other, and we get pictures of all that stuff. And then there's double wraps. Obviously, there's more than 3 nails on each side, or actually 2 straps that go over the top. And that's great. That's like the maximum you're gonna get for that. Then they're gonna want us to take pictures of the window openings and the door openings and verification if we see any stickers, just like this one right here. This is gonna give us all the information we need that we can submit, and it's gonna let you know if there is any impact rating on it, if it meets the standards for what Florida state wants. A lot of them don't, but you get some credits, kind of a sliding scale, and garage doors, all that thing would come into effect. So that's pretty much for the 4-point and wind mitigation. So if you know that a roof, if you have access to it and the people say it's the original roof, and you know that a roof is coming to be about 15 years old, let your clients know that it's not gonna happen for 100%, but there's a possibility that you might get a little pushback. Now, what I've seen happen is on roofs that are at that age, we give them, on my report, I give them how much life, the report asks me, is the roof in good condition, what's the age of it, how much life's left on it. All the inspectors, we put the maximum amount of lifespan on it. So the 3-tab shingle like she has, if it's 18 years old, I'm gonna say it has 7 years of life left on it because it's a 25-year shingle. What I put on it and what I report is really secondary to what the underwriters are gonna do. We've had insurances come out, had 0 issues with roofs. There was no visible signs of leaking on the roof, in the attic, inside the house, but because the roof was 18 years old, insurance pushed back, sent an adjuster out, and they admitted to put a new roof on. So that kind of stuff exists. Again, the water heater, some catch it, some don't, but the big thing is electrical panels too. They get 35, 40 years old. Insurances are wanting some of those to get replaced at some time too, but that's not a judgment call on us. We just report the age of it. Okay? And that's really it for the 4-point and wind mitigation, I think. Do you have any questions on that at all? On when to get one, when to not?
For that water heater, is there a age the insurance wants it replaced?
Yeah, if it's over 15 years old and it's got any signs of like rusting or anything like that, corrosion on the pipes, and they see it, yeah, 15 is that magic number on a water heater. I mean, we just had one come back that was 19, and the insurance was like, no, we can't have it. So, okay.
Actually, for air conditioning units, what's the lifespan? What would you say?
Well, I can tell you what the manufacturers say, and that's that magic number, 12 to 15 years. That's on everything. But I've done almost 3,000 home inspections, and I've seen some that are. I saw one from 1946 that was functioning. It was 46 years old, so 74,
Wow.
and it was functioning perfectly. And I've seen them that take it. They don't make it 3 or 4 years. It's just I wish I had a crystal ball.
Can't really tell.
Can't really tell, but anytime that they're nearing that 12 to 15 years, I always tell people put a home warranty on the house, because most home warranties will do a fixed repair, or what do they call it? Fixed
Repair replacement.
Yes, repair and replace. Yes, that's where it was fixed. I don't know how fixed they're on there, but we do that and have them serviced. Like I said, I see them all the time. They're well over 15 years and 20 years, and they're still fine. And then you go to some homes that are 4 or 5 years old, and they've got a brand new HVAC sitting there because they didn't make it it'd make it 4 or 5 years. So
So talk about some of the hot topic subjects that come up with buyers and agents and inspection reports. Like what are like the top 5 things that people freak out over that they probably shouldn't, or vice versa?
Actually, I don't think there's a top 5, but there is a blanket statement that I can say for everything. A home inspection, especially one of ours that's very detailed, is can be a very, very scary, intimidating thing to look at, because there is some legalese, there's some CYA stuff in our reports that we have to put in there, because that's just the nature of the business that we do. But a lot of the things that we try to emphasize is nobody in our company, or nobody should do a threatening walkthrough and try to scare people. The house is what it is. I hate that statement, but it is what it is. We're not here to give it a pass-fail. We're not here to give it a sliding scale like from 1 to 100. We're just reporting the condition of the house and any things that could pop up that are latent or hidden defects that could possibly cost the potential buyer, some substantial money, further down. So that's what we're here to do. I've had conversations lately about when we walk through, we talk about things, not wanting to scare people, but emphasizing, hey, you really need to have a further evaluation done on this. We've seen this, we've seen that. Please don't take ownership of the house without at least having further evaluation done. And generally, for the most part, that's usually the high ticket items. That's usually something going on with the HVAC, the roof, plumbing issues, and something like that. Cosmetic stuff, generally, we don't get any kind of worries, stuff like that, but that's the big thing.
I'm thinking, like, when I am talking to a buyer about an inspection report, there's 3 things that stand out. It's either water, electrical, or what's the other one? I always tell them water and electrical, really, because it's either a fire hazard, and water is like crazy. If you have a leak or something like that, it's a big deal. So those are some of the things that I talk to them about.
This is what you're going to hear from me through a walkthrough. I'm going to take you through the house after we do the thing, and a house this size, and the condition it is. I'm going to probably take roughly 130 to 150 photographs. But I don't talk to people about 130 or 150 photographs because we'd be here for 8 hours, and nobody's going to retain that information anyway. So we're going to walk through. We're going to talk to you about the things that in your clients that they need to know about, but I'm also going to tell them that this is the point now where you take this information, go home tonight when you get your report, sit down, trust your agent, and let you guys work through and discuss these things that you'd like to have looked at, further remedied, or have repaired before they take ownership of the home within that contingency time. So that's the big thing. But yes, anything that's in my report that has to do that's a safety issue or electrical issue or water issue, it's going to be highlighted in red, and it's going to have lots of scary language in there about having full evaluations and stuff done. And that's some of that's a CYA, but most of that is because there is an issue. A roof can be thousands of dollars. Plumbing stuff can be thousands of dollars. Mold is ridiculous. So any of those things that come up with health issues, stuff like that, that's really what we want to not scare people with, but make it very well known in our reporting system that you really need to have further evaluation done and have it looked at.
All right, as far as termites go, we're gonna switch the floor here.
Well, I can go over where he was saying.
Yeah, I wish we would have done this differently, because that window's killing this video. But anyway, sometimes, like I said, Rob doesn't do termite reports or inspections. However, if he sees evidence that there could be or has been in the past evidence of termites, then that's where James comes into play. And so James, tell them what termites look like, what you're looking for, blah, 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 when it comes to WDO.
Okay, sure. Well, first of all, I always tell him he's really good at talking and doing videos and doing these kind of talks. And I don't know why that I'm on after him. It's like a new comedian going on after Chris Rock or something. But I'll do my best. Okay?
You'll be fine.
So I do the WDO inspections, and there are 2 types of WDO inspections you'll reports that you'll have to deal with. So there's a VA report, and then there's a conventional loan pretty much report that we do, the 2 different types of reports we write. Now, the conventional loan, we report wood decay or wood decay fungus, just water rot basically, or some people call it dry rot. We report subterranean termites, dry wood termites, basically a few other things. But that's what we put on that report. Now, if you have a VA loan, a lot of times they will require a VA report. And if it's a VA report, we're not putting wood rot on there. You don't put wood rot on a VA report. So if you do happen to get a VA report back from an inspector, whether it's me or another professional, and you were out there and the siding's all curled up on the bottom, and the home inspector said there was damage in the attic, and so just save yourself a phone call. Don't call the termite guy and say, hey, what are you doing? You missed all this stuff. If it's a VA loan, it doesn't go on there. If it's a VA report, rather, it doesn't go on there. Conventional report, you do everything. Now, the VA reports require us to report carpenter ants and carpenter bees, which are nowhere near a conventional report. So those are some weird things that can happen. Whenever you have a VA loan, be aware that there are some differences. And obviously, you can call your termite guy at any time. There are a few of them that don't know that rule either, I've learned. But none of them work for regional. Okay?
Right.
So another thing I want to talk about is, so we're in Pasco County today, and we're in Newport Richey, and so everyone here in this room, and I assume if you're watching, you work in this county, but you probably also work in some surrounding areas. You may have someone that has a listing in St. Petersburg, or Tampa, or Wesley Chapel, Zephyr Hills. So I want to talk about the different areas and how it affects the activity that we're going to run into when we're inspecting homes. I started my company back in 1997 in Ocala, Florida, where we still work and we still do inspections and service in the villages, in Ocala, Gainesville, the whole area. And so the only place we would run into drywood termites, and drywood termites are the type of termites where you have to tent the house. They're the kind, you see the big orange and blue tents. That's treating for drywood termites. Subterranean termites are the kind that you can prevent or treat correctively with a liquid. You can't treat drywood termites preventively because you have to gas the whole structure. And if there was any residual to that gas, you wouldn't be able to return the home and live in it. So those are two different types we have. But areas of where you work determine what has more of one than the other. And so, for instance, in this area, in Pasco County, I will find a lot more subterranean termite activity, the kind that come up from the ground and make the mud tunnels, than I will drywood termites. Now, all areas have both in Florida, don't get me wrong. But here, in the real historic areas, you would be more likely to see drywood termites, where everything's built out of 100% wood. Old homes, and those drywood termites have moved in there, they built colonies, and they just move from house to house to house, and they spread and stay in that area. Now, where I live in St. Petersburg, especially the old historic northeast and southeast areas, these homes are all very old, and most of them are either all wood, or they're built near homes that are all wood, and there's so many drywood termite populations in that area, we find more drywood termite activity over there. But so just to be on the lookout wherever you're working, wherever you're selling a home. If you're selling a home in a historic area, don't be surprised if there's drywood termite activity. Okay. Otherwise, in areas that are more rural, or if they're newer, like Wesley Chapel and Zephyr Hills have a lot of new communities around here, you're going to see a lot of subterranean termite stuff. Now, one question I get a lot, probably the main question I've gotten from buyers over the years is, well, this is a block home. Why are we doing a termite inspection? I had a seller tell me recently, and it may have been with you, Rob. I'm not sure. I think it might have been. It was a condo, and the seller said, well, I don't know. Well, it's a block house, but whatever. Do your thing, I guess. So I want to go over that. So on a frame home, there is more wood in a frame home than there is in a block home, obviously. So the main difference is the perimeter walls are framed. Now this home is a block home here, but if it were a frame home, the perimeter walls would just be all wood studs. And on a block home, this is all block. So they say, well, why get a termite inspector? So I want to go over a few things, what termites could possibly be attracted to in a block home. So in a block home, unless it's an all steel construction, and I have had very few of those that I've been in, you're going to have wood on all your trusses in the attic. That's all wood, okay? And then you're going to have plywood or particle board for your roof decking. That's all wood too. Then even though your outer walls are block, your interior walls are going to be all wood studs. So you can start to see how much wood is in these houses. Now for subterranean termites, the backside of this drywall is cardboard. That is the favorite food of termites because it's soft cellulose-based material. And termites, subterranean termites, the kind that come up from the ground again, will like the softer wood first. And if you were to cut down a tree and you see the annual rings, that's how you can count to see how old the tree is. Those annual rings generally will not be eaten by subterranean termites because they're the hardest part of the wood, or like the knots in the wood will always remain. And if you see a 2x4 that's been completely almost consumed by subterranean termites and they've moved on, they haven't been treated, but they've moved on, you will see bands of wood in between that haven't been touched. And so drywood termites will eat right through the grain. That's another way to tell the difference between the two termites. But on a home like this is a block home. So we've got wood frame around the door. We've got on the inside all the other doors on the inside. You've got all wood in the attic. All your interior walls are all wood. Your baseboards are wood. And on a concrete block construction, if you pull the drywall out, there's a false baseboard behind this one as well that's also wood. Because there has to be a gap between that perimeter block and the drywall to run your wires through. So you gotta have a gap, or you couldn't run the wires. You wouldn't have electrical outlets along here.
There's also furring strips in there that they attach the sheetrock.
And then, yeah, exactly. And so above that false baseboard, you have the furring strips that are about like this. They don't go floor to ceiling, but they're made out of wood also. And people say, well, a lot of times the wood's pressure treated. Well, yes, it is. They used to use the wood like a lignin or something like that, an oil to treat the wood. But a lot of times that stuff will leach out of the wood over time, and you have these houses that are older and they have termites. And well, how do they get termites? It's all pressure treated. Well, because it doesn't last forever, like anything else. So there's that, and then really, so when I'm doing inspection, like you're standing right here at a bar that juts out into the middle of the house. I've had customers before that say they had swarming termites, and we go to do an inspection, and the whole perimeter, the outside, there's no sign of anything. And then all of a sudden I'm walking by and I'm looking at the baseboard down here in front of this bar, and then something looks amiss on the paint, and I kick it, I just tap with my toe, and it goes right through. And so when they built this home, a lot of pre-treats, especially back in the day, used to be all soil treatments. Now we have treatments where you don't treat the soil, you treat the wood once it gets put in. But and we still have the soil treatments as well. So when this house was built, more than likely, they treated the soil. And the termite guy came in and he sprayed the soil before they poured the cement. And the cement guy says, all right, he's done, let's cover it. And then they uncover it, then they pour the cement. So what happens in between then, a lot of times after the termite treatment comes, the plumber will come through and pull the pipes up through the soil for the kitchen and the bathrooms. You've disturbed the treatment right there. And the old chemicals, they were just a repellent. So if you disturb that treatment, termites will come up there. This is also a water source which termites are attracted to. So what happens is a lot of times they won't come up from the perimeter where we're treating normally. They come right up through here, through the sink area, and they eat out the baseboard and the framing of the cabinets. Another thing I look for when I'm doing a termite inspection is you'll see me shining my light up on the ceiling sometimes, or near the ceiling where it meets the wall. And I'm looking for little irregular shaped holes, and we call those exit holes, where the termites swarm out of. And if it's subterranean termites, they'll swarm out of that hole, and then they'll fill the little hole back up with mud when they're finished swarming. Because subterranean termites have to return to the soil every 24 hours or they'll dry out and die. They need a lot of moisture just to live. And so they have to have a climate controlled environment when they're in a structure. So they bring the mud up with them to keep the climate controlled. Now drywood termites won't do that. They won't fill it up with mud. They'll just leave it open. So that's another way to tell the difference. And these are things that you just learn from years of experience and keeping up with our CEUs and learning every year. But yeah, so there's a lot that goes into it. It can be very tricky. Inspecting homes. When I pull up, I have to know my surroundings. They say know your audience. You have to know where you are, the type of construction you're dealing with, and we check the whole property. But what that does is it helps me to hone in on certain areas first and say, okay, these are the most problematic areas for this home in this county at this time of year. Is it swarming season for this type of termite, or for the other type of termites, or just for ants? There's a lot we have to know going into this. So I hope that helps you explain some of what we do and helps you answer some questions, help you deal with the termite guy, and maybe help you read the reports when you get them and save you some time learning about how these reports are written and what goes into what we're thinking when we write these reports.
Also, the termites don't need a big hole that's been punched in the, into the foundation or anything like the slab. It's just anything as small as a settling crack that's opened up over time. We build these homes on sand, they settle over time. If you pull off the tile or pull back, every house in Florida has got cracking going on. They get a crack big enough they can come up. I've actually, James have probably seen a million times, but I got excited about it a month ago. I actually found subterranean mud tubes, the ones that have to return to the soil every 24 hours, in the attic, like going up the side. I was like, yeah, because I was like, how'd they get in? Well, when the people, they pulled the sheetrock off, and you could see that they'd come from a cracking right at the edge and came up and chewed their way right up the backside of the sheetrock, just like James was talking about, and went up, and they were actually eating the actual roof structure.
1/64 of an inch is all they need.
Wow.
Subterranean
Wow.
testing, 1/64 of an inch. The Taj Mahal has 1/64 of an inch somewhere. And in Florida, we're just built on sand. And
Yeah.
these things, almost all of them crack. Hairline cracks is normal, really, for slabs in Florida. If you were from up north, you would go nuts. You would say, wait a minute, I build homes up north and we don't have, well, you're not pouring cement on top of sand either, like you are here.
Right.
Basically.
And termites are just a fact of life in Florida. There's only two types of houses that don't have. Those that have them, those are going to get them. So I always tell people, do I need a WDO? You're going to need one if your insurance recalls us. So I always refer James, but I also tell him the same breath, always have a preventative maintenance plan going, because just because you don't have them now doesn't mean they won't be here. They're going to be here at some point.
So if anybody has any questions for me, I'll be glad to answer them now. Or
Everybody good?
did I go from,
I think yeah,
just start?
You really did.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna buy you a chocolate espresso martini, dude.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'll keep talking about it too.
Real quick, let's get into mold real quick. Mold, it's Florida, okay? So it's wet here. It's no secret. It's wet, it's hot.
Yep.
And mold is always usually a concern. So let's talk about it just briefly because we're running into 30 minutes.
Okay. The only one true way to do accurate mold testing is through air quality mold testing, which we can do. And that's run through ProLab, and that's actually a scientific test for little guys. I don't know if they're little or tall, whatever, but they're the white guys, white suits, white gloves. They go, we take air samples. So we'll come in, we'll do one on the outside because you're breathing mold right now. I mean, it's just a fact of life here in Florida. So we take a baseline outside, and then we'll come in and do 2 spots in the house, and we'll take them. So what you're going to get back is a very detailed report that you have to be a scholar to understand it. But it's basically going to tell you elevated, not elevated, and it's going to let you know 2 things. It's going to let you know if you have more mold inside the home that exists on the exterior of the home, or if you have different types of mold that exist. Either one of those could be problematic for certain people. What I like to tell people is the black mold scare. That's mold is mold is mold. It can be pink, it can be purple, it can be red, it can be green. I've seen all
It's all
colors.
bad.
It can be all bad. It's just all depending on. You could have 10 people living in a home that has a mold infestation. 9 people are fine. 1 person's absolutely miserable. Having a respiratory. It's just all based. It's generally see it in elderly people or younger kids whose their immune systems are not developed or they're compromised. That's what you see it in. But as far as finding mold in a home inspection, there's a lot of, I wish a lot of the realtors would read what the limitations are on home inspectors, because they think that we can tear stuff off and that we can't. I can open up cabinets and stuff like that, shine my light and everything in there, and there's obviously being trained, and doing this for a long time, there's certain things that we can key in on, like James was talking about. Most spots people think are underneath the cabinets where the plumbing comes in, refrigerator lines, that for the ice box, or anywhere around the washer and dryer, anywhere that there's water, that open water sources. But to be honest, I tell people too, probably at least 50% of the water intrusion that I see in a home is coming from the exterior of the home. Not proper drainage around the home, not having gutters on and moving that water away. Shrubs, trees, mulch, stuff like that, anything that holds water up, even though it's a block home, water gets in and it causes issues. And again, like James was saying, once you have moisture, termites like it because it makes everything soft for their palate, and you can have issues with that. So I can honestly, I'm going to use my training and just common things to find mold. But if it's not, the only way to know is through that air quality mold testing. And so it's the next day for us. If I come into a house, I send off reports the next day, you'll know whether it's elevated or not.
So that's part of what you do?
It's part of what we do. It's also it's an ancillary service, so there is a charge for it. Most mold companies in the area in a house this size are between $500 and $700. We charge $295, and because we're just middlemen, we don't work for them or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that we do, especially, I want to talk about this just real quick, is I was not in love with this idea when it was first approached to me about doing sewer scopes. This house, I didn't do the inspection on this home, but this house, if it was done before 1980, there's a really good chance that there's cast iron piping in this house, okay? As far as the drain lines go. Have you guys probably heard Morgan & Morgan, hey, you got cast iron pipes, call us, class action lawsuit. It's kind of like aluminum wiring. Aluminum wiring is a big no-no now. It was perfectly acceptable back in the 60s and stuff when they did it because they didn't know any better, and now it's taboo, okay? Cast iron piping, it has a maximum lifespan of 50 to 80 years, and the what they call non-abrasive drain cleaners and stuff that we use, the Drainos, the Plumo, whatever that stuff is brutal on it. So if the house hasn't had somebody like actively doing due diligence on cleaning that line, they can get really bad. They look horrible. And the bad thing about them is and it doesn't have to be cast iron. There's Orangeburg. I don't want to get into all that stuff, but there's Orangeburg. There's all sorts of things. So it's also a service where we run a 4K video camera through. If we can do it at ground level, if there's a clean out, a lot of times there's not a clean out, and that's also a good indicator that you have the original drain system. If you walk around the house, you don't see that little white cap, for the sewer line, and the house is from the 60s and 70s, even the 50s. Pretty good chance that there's cast iron or some other defective type of plumbing drain system for the sewer. We can get on the roof if the pitch allows us to, run that camera down and do a video from here to the city tap, which that is where the homeowner is responsible to. So if there's any blockages, if there's any root intrusion, which is huge, delamination and scaling on, without actually seeing it, you probably can't understand it, but the inside of the pipe on cast iron, it corrodes and it flakes off and everything like that, and it gets choked down. And so you can imagine you're trying to flush toilet paper, tissues, and stuff down that. It binds up. So it's always recommended that. Now, because you have it doesn't mean that you have to have a line replaced, but you definitely want to know if there's any, because replacing a sewer line is crazy expensive. It's like up to $100 a linear foot to replace, and that's not something that any homeowner particularly wants to take on 10 minutes after they move into their home. So like I said, it's not my favorite thing in the world to go through and videotape a sewer line because it's just gross, but I have literally saved people, thousands and thousands of dollars potential from finding issues that they need to have addressed before they take it home. So, all right.
Also, you guys do thermal imaging.
Yep, every home.
Just touch on it real quick.
Every home gets thermal imaging. Thermal imaging is one of those things that I don't use thermal imaging. Thermal imaging is telling temperature differences, okay? So we have a camera that tells us, it'll show anomalies like, I'll do the ceilings, I do around the windows, and it tells me it doesn't tell me if there's any moisture, but the pictures and the heat differentials could allude to water intrusion, and then I can back that up with a moisture meter. Underneath the cabinets, we do the thermal imaging while the water's running on hot. I do it on cold as well, but I'm not looking at the actual pipes to make sure that the water is running through it. I'm looking behind the walls to see if there's any radiating heat that could be a potential leak. So I think it's one of the coolest tools we use. We don't charge for it. It comes with the home inspection. I found major roof leaks with it that I would never known about had I not scanned and seen the anomaly in the ceiling. Caught water leaks behind showers and stuff like that. So it's one of my favorite tools to use. Yeah, so thermal imaging, sewer scopes, and mold, that's all the things we do, plus the, our detailed reporting.
All right, cool. So we're going to wrap up the video, but then when we're done, James wants to say something, but when we're done, we're going to actually tour around real quick, and he's going to kind of show you a few things of what he would be looking for in a home inspection, and then we'll be out of here. James. 2
very quick points. Number 1, we don't have anything to do with mold as a termite inspector. If we report fungus, it's wood decay fungus. It's a wood-based issue. In a non-ventilated area, you'll have white or brownish, tannish fungus growing on a wood. So if we tell you fungus, don't think, oh, you've got mold. It's completely different. You're from a termite guy, it's not mold, ever. The other thing is we do treatments. We do subterranean termite treatments with a $250,000 damage guarantee with each treatment. And we also do drywood termite spot treatments. If we determine that it can be spot treated and it'll be effective and save you some money and some time, then we will do that. If not, we will refer you to a tinting company. And we do full pest control services as well, quarterly or annual pest control, rodent control, German roach control, flea control. Just want to add that in case you wondered we only do inspections. We're a full service company.
Awesome. And you service all of Tampa Bay, Ocala.
Oh, yeah, we're from Bradenton to Hudson here in this area, and then basically from Leesburg to Gainesville.
Okay.
Those small gap in between.
You guys,
Awesome.
I've seen you guys in Spring Hill.
And Spring, well, I mean, I say
Yeah.
Hudson, Spring Hill, Hudson, yeah, all of this area.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up the video. Rob Alexander with Rock Solid Home Inspections, James Brooks with Regional Termite, and we'll talk to you guys later.